What is up, artists? Welcome back on another episode of Architecture. In this episode, we're going to be tourists as we tackle about the experiences of our special guests together with their realization from traveling around the world. So, what are you waiting for? Fasten your seatbelts as we are about to go in this architecture. So, while we're waiting for our guests, might as well discuss about the weather today. Climate change has definitely an impact. The other day it was rainy, now it's sunny! Okay, we've reached our first destination. Let's go! So, before we started, let us welcome our special guests from Bataan Peninsula State University, BS Architecture graduating students, Nathan Rubio and Will Rieta.
Aloha! It was nice seeing you today, Raka. Make yourself feel at home.
Welcome to our vacation house for the week.
So, guys, it's been a long time since I last saw you too. So, how are you?
Life has been great going to all these beautiful places from around the world for like the past 5 months, was it?
Yes.
So, how about you, Rin? What are your thoughts from your recent trips?
The tour itself was tiring but fulfilling. As an aspiring architect, those trips are definitely worth it.
So, I am sure you're still adjusting from the climate from one place to another.
Actually, Raquel, we went to a total of 4 foreign countries where we spent our time unwinding and exploring their unique architectures. Our first location was, of course, the United States of America. The weather was very warm. It was like I was still here in the Philippines.
Second destination was in London, England. It was also very hot there, and if I don't mistake myself, I believe that was last August.
Since we wanted to have a pretty unforgettable vacation and not stay in our homes, we went to Hawaii. It was nice because we went there in September, and it was said to be an excellent time visiting the place.
Since we do have a short time to explore our last trip was in Spain, and it was also a sunny day and a perfect time for traveling.
Oh, that was nice. And now you're in the Philippines, where we just had multiple storms and we eventually saw the sun rising as if there were none in the first place. Alright, tourists, we'll be going to our next destination and we'll be right back.
Mami! Bumili ka ng suka! Yung mukhasim!
Opo, Nay! Pabili nga po ng suka. Yung ganito.
Ah, dato puti.
Akin yan, Datu Puti! Galing mo sumapak, man.
Nay! Nay! Champion na ako!
Bumili ka ng suka, champion ka na! Yung mukhasim!
Ang Datu Puti po. May asim pa si Mami.
Dato puti, ito ang champion!
So let's start with how we discussed it earlier. Raquel, we noticed that the United States of America was colonized by multiple countries. Their architectural designs were mostly influenced by neoclassical architecture like the White House.
You know, like things such as tall columns, symmetrical shapes, triangular pediments, and dome roofs distinguish these styles. It incorporates the Federal and Greek Revival architectural styles that were popular in the late 18th and early 19th centuries.
So, I provided some image for our tourists to know how it looks like. It also indicates that the advantages were on the design itself. Large columns for support, evenly spaced window for ventilation, and elaborate doorway that screams grandeur. Disadvantages was it is not used often because of the height and the details of the parts.
Okay, next. London's architecture ranges from the Romanesque architecture in the 14th to 15th century.
There was this covered market in London located on Grace Church Street, famous as it is home to many boutique retailers, restaurants, cafes, wine bars, and an award-winning pub. They call it the Leiden Market, Raquel, and it was built by architect Horace Jones in 1881 and was redesigned in the medieval period. The design is distinguished by a cobbled floor and a wrought iron and glass structure to give an airy and light feeling according to the tour guide we've met.
In fact, this market was shown in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, where young Harry was brought by Hagrid in Diagon Alley. One's up, Potterhead!
Second to the last, we wanted to have an experience living in Hawaii and didn't even hesitate. Although it's quite pricey and I believe I'm going to be broke. I still have my hair appointment this week.
Anyway, we still chose a simple Hawaii style, which tends to lead in plantation style. Hawaiian homes designs also incorporate lots of glass and lots of light to take advantage of the abundant great views that are common on the Big Island.
It was more now modern than the Talakai's residence, also known as the home of Lilong Station. That house was pretty easily destroyed by those aliens. And we are about on the last part, which was the Spain.
The straight line belongs to man, the curved one to God. A famous dictum by Antoni Gaudi built one of the most spectacular buildings in Spain, La Sagrada Familia, like every other country. Spanish architecture was also influenced by arts and rich history.
The design was very complicated for buildings, but the houses were simply made with thick stucco walls, small open windows, wooden support beams, and has an inner courtyard. All in all, the advantages and disadvantages of the designs really varies on when and where it is to be built. That is why we must know the design considerations.
That was nice. But if we're going to the topic, might as well look at the beauty of nature first while waiting for our guests to go and walk around their houses. Oh, I wonder what it feels like to live on those countries, considering their climate condition monthly.
Trust me, it was enjoyable, not unless you go to the time of the year where you'll experience the contrast.
Luckily, the architects of the buildings we've been in consider the future clients in the infrastructure.
Yes, I believe they had a strong connection with the people with regard to their design that brought comforts to you.
We've noticed that they followed the 5 processes in design thinking, and those are first, emphasize. Like what the architect did, he thought of how the user will react in the environment. They put themselves in the client's shoes.
Second is to define the problem. From the word itself, we thought of how the user, the needs, and the insights.
Third, ideate. Analyzing, exploring, and expecting the unexpected.
Fourth, prototype. This is where we review and refine our product.
Fit test.
Exactly.
Now, as they continue to use those 5 tips, they will be able to execute their idea as well, right?
They can definitely do that.
With regard to the design, we all know that we should choose the opposite of what we're feeling in the climate. Am I correct?
Yes, exactly.
Imagine living in wintertime and asking for an ice-cold beverage while walking in the snow.
That's the point. If we wanted to feel comfortable in our own homes, we should consider the climate and the location. For example, I enjoy summertime, but sometimes the wrong location of the rooms can affect the natural light.
Oh, I see. We use air conditioning in those times when we really cannot control the heat. And sometimes we just eat something cold while being in front of our fans for alternatives.
With the information that Will just said, it is really important to know where to place your rooms.
We do not want our seats for siesta time to be burning hot from the sun's temperature while we rest at 5:30 p.m. to be.
We also do not want our houses to be poorly designed like a hot type of house in an area where storms are expected yearly.
Now, that is why considerations are a must to avoid conflicts with the location, temperature, and the materials to be used in our humble homes.
Wow! Your recent trip gave us some tips and techniques in thinking like an architect.
Interesting, right?
Now,
Seems like the architectural structure of the houses here in the neighborhood has a hint of modern architecture. considering their forms and the design itself.
Speaking of the form, it was suggested to use stone walls rather than wood and steel for the support. In that way, it can still stand the southwest monsoon.
With our basic understanding of the designs, it depends on the client what they would want to use as the material.
If a client wants to feel the northeast wind, they can choose to be as grand as they want, as long as we follow some safety protocols and rules for a specific structure.
Based on the discussion earlier, there were different types of architectural style around the world. In those times, what would you recommend for our country?
Plantation styles of homes are the most appropriate architectural styles here in the Philippines since it contains columns and staircase which are needed here where floods occur more often.
It also has a number of windows for ventilation and natural light control.
Nowadays, we like modern architectural style known for its simplicity and aesthetics. It does not hurt the eye and instead it pleases.
Before we end, I just want to say a huge thank you for the both of you for sharing your drape recommendation tips for our viewers. Is there anything else would you like to say?
Thank you so much for having us. We had a wonderful time having a talk with all of you.
I just wanted to share this quote with our aspiring architects and with those who are still hesitant about this program. Most of the time, things will not go in your way. But as you want to do what makes you so happy, it is like you are living in your own paradise. Why not share it out with others? Just like what architect Alvar Aalto said, the ultimate goal of the architect is to create a paradise. Every house, every product of architecture should be a fruit of our endeavor to build an early paradise for you.
Thank you. Alright, thank you for your wonderful quote. And with that, we are now going to wrap up our trip Archis. Thank you guys for staying tuned. We've reached our designated destination again. Until our next architecture, where we enjoy the beauty of architecture. Annyeong, goodbye, adios. Bye!